Welcome back to the Pigskin Pals podcast. In this episode, AJ and I are going to be talking about the week 2 recap, everything that went down. I was blessed with a great game at Lambeau Field this week. AJ was probably at home watching his team and probably didn't have as fun of a weekend.
Time.
But we're going to be talking about all the injuries, all of our fantasy teams, just what happened in week 2, and then we'll have some quick questions too to bring us in. So let's get stuck right into it.
All right, start off with a couple quick questions. They all kind of stem from the same first question. Obviously, we now know that Bryce Young has been benched for Andy Dalton, right?
True.
Are you surprised that the Bryce Young experience, at least at this point, is over?
I am. I mean, it just is a very interesting situation because he's a young quarterback. I mean, they just kind of tried rebuilding the team to be around him too with new head coach and weapons and stuff, and they gave it 2 weeks and they were like, yep, this is going terribly, so we're just gonna abandon ship. They didn't even try and sell him for, I mean, maybe they will sell him later down the road, or they'll give him this as like time to sit and learn, but I don't think anything's going to be coming from that personally, because to me, like, at least Bryce, he sounded like a prospect that he was like mentally there for the game but not fully physically. And so I think he's mentally prepared for the NFL, but he just doesn't have some of the physical traits, or he's just not as good as people were expecting. So I don't really know what's going to come of this.
Yeah. So you kind of think that he will get another chance with Carolina, or do you think they're kind of just gonna call it?
I think
quits?
it's quits, which is bittersweet, I think, for Panther fans, because one, you're not going to get that guaranteed 101 anymore with Dalton playing. Like, he's probably going to win a couple games, but it's also going to be nice to see your team hopefully like gel and get
maybe
some
look
wins
a little bit better.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess, one more thing on Bryce Young. Do you think he will kind of just be now like a perennial backup guy, or do you think he'll get like an actual starting chance somewhere, like at some, like the Raiders, who like have literally no quarterback, like they have Minshew and Aiden O'Connell?
I think we have to forget he was the first pick in the NFL draft. He's gonna get that Zach Wilson treatment, I think.
That's a good comparison, probably.
Like, he's just gonna be floating around the league, be thrown into spots when teams have injuries and stuff like that. But speaking of Zach Wilson and Bryce Young, that's Ethan's quarterback room in Dynasty.
Yeah, Bryce Young's dead.
Yeah, Ethan has been he brought back to life a trade offer that I sent to him a while ago, and he's like, I'm kicking myself for not accepting this. I was going after Bryce Young in the offseason. I really wanted that dude.
I think I did at one point too. What was your deal?
My first offer was Bryce Young for Chris Godwin and your 2025 second round pick. That got rejected. I came back and hit him with J.K. Dobbins, Chris Godwin, and a second for Bryce Young. That got rejected. I came back with 2 second-round picks, J.K. Dobbins and Chris Godwin, for Bryce Young. Obviously, these all look
At
like
the time,
smashes now, but
at the time they were probably not all that good. Of like J.K. Dobbins is useless. We thought Bryce Young had some upsides. So like, we can't sell him for Chris Godwin, like a bunch of old pieces and 2 like random seconds that could, like, mine was late. So at the time, yes, obviously I would have said no too if I was him, but I really wish I would have said yes. Holy.
Yeah, and then after he brought that back up, I was like, okay, I'll take one more stab. After week 1, I sent him Austin Eckler for Bryce Young, and that got rejected, which, I mean, I would have rejected that too.
That's the same thing. It's like you're both not getting anything, honestly. So last part of this, Will Levis has kind of been having some issues. I guess we'll say that.
Yeah.
I think his are more mental issues, realistically. Like, he's an idiot.
Well, he can't see either. Like, is it mental when you can't feel pressure and
that's true.
Avoid sacks?
So the issue, I was going to ask, do you see the same thing maybe happening in a couple games where he's going to get shelved? Or do you think it could be different because he actually has, like, shown splashes of that upside? Like, he's looked good in some games. Bryce Young never really looked good. Do you think he'll get maybe a little bit longer leash?
I think they'll stick with him the whole season because Mason Rudolph is their backup, where he is also going to get those strong words from his coach in the post-game presser. If I'm referring to, like, the words of, like, we probably would have won if we just punted on every first down, or I think you said something new this week too that was pretty harsh.
Well, I don't remember exactly what it was, but because people were talking about how he, like, was just screaming at Levis on the sidelines, and he was like, we, like, talked about this last week. I thought he was, like, a grown-up you shouldn't make those plays, or like shouldn't even tell you again, or something like that. It was like the most ridiculous thing ever.
No, I was never a Will Levis truther, and I didn't really think he was good. So
I don't think anyone really thought he was like football good, like actually going to be a good quarterback. I think people were like, if you need a quarterback late, like he's probably going to score fantasy points because he's a guy that just chucks the ball. But it turns out that doesn't always translate to.
yeah, when you throw more
fantasy
interceptions
points.
than touchdowns, it's pretty
Yeah.
difficult. But
He hasn't been throwing the touchdowns as much as he has the interceptions.
he has played like two of the best defenses in the league, week
Mhm.
1 and 2. So I'll
That's
give him a little break there.
Yeah.
Let's hop over to our teams, I guess. I was pretty shocked by what the Packers did this
Really?
last weekend. I went to the game with my best friend from college. Shout out Wyatt. He's a diehard Colts fan. So that was pretty
nice.
interesting to watch the game with him. He was definitely excited to see his team in person and at Lambeau for the first time. And I was just going into the game, I knew, like, yeah, my expectations were not that high, but I also knew, like, Richardson has struggled with passing, and we have a pretty sweet defense where I'm like, this could go pretty south. And it was just difficult to watch it next to, like, a really close friend. It's like, fucking hell, this guy sucks all ass. And you just want to be like, yeah, he kind of does. But
Yeah, he's kind of
I just kind of held my mouth shut because I knew, like, we didn't really have the best quarterback play, like, option, at least. Like, I knew our team was just on a tether the whole time where it could have flipped, like, really fast. So I didn't want to eat my words after talking some smack.
I feel like the Packers' game plan, which I think is what everyone expected, at least it's what I expected, which was run the ball 50 times, is actually something that the Colts should have done, especially against the Packers, who have a little bit of a hole at run defense. I feel like, at least that's what it seemed like so far. When like, at least, especially when you see Richardson just struggling out there to throw the ball, I feel like they needed to pivot quicker to just running JT a lot and just kind of follow the similar game plan to the Packers.
Yeah, to my eyes, it looked like we took away all the short, easy completions. We made Richardson. We contained the pocket so well, which was so good. So he wasn't going to be able to scramble, extend the play, and make a play. We like forced him to make those difficult decisions, which is, I think, what kind of won us the game because it caused 3 turnovers or something like that. So that was all solid. We took away the short stuff. We made him throw longer, and then I think the second half the Colts definitely started running more, but we were just kind of giving that to them since we had the lead. But I think overall the Colts are just going to be a team that you target when you have a running back or a running quarterback. You're playing them. They have dog shit run D. Honestly,
yes,
their D overall, which is
not very good.
No, Malik Willis go 12 for 14.
Yeah, he looked like, for what he needed to do, he did it very well, and didn't look like he struggled all too much getting it done, which I don't think Malik Willis has ever looked like he wasn't struggling out on a football field, so that says something, I think, about the Colts defense.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I don't want Love to come back this next week. I mean,
there's no need.
Great, but I want to see the revenge game of Malik going against the Titans. I think that would be so sweet.
That would be cool. I didn't even think about that, actually. I knew you played Titans. I didn't even think about the revenge game. That's fun.
But what?
And I think I just think it's a game that is very winnable without Jordan Love. So I think they will also think that and give him another week.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me is we're not going to be able to go into it with the same mindset as last week, because I think the Titans' run defense is one of the better run Ds in the league, where we're going to have to rely on Malik to make some more plays through the air.
As long as you kind of go with more short routes, that type of thing, maybe it'll work. But we saw what the Packers did to the Colts. If, take away that short stuff and make them throw deeper balls, it could cause some issues. So I guess we'll see how it turns out.
I will say, though, Will Levis, he can throw a deep ball, and he can get pretty lucky with that. Where
it's true.
Richardson, he would just throw it in triple coverage and get unlucky.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
What would you recommend me to do with Malik in Dynasty? Do I just hold him now?
Do
I drop him, right? And then but the worst pick that you can trade?
No, I get that. But are you going to try and trade him again, or are you saying in terms of dropping him?
No, I'm either dropping Malik or I'm just holding him and dropping someone else when Love comes back.
I guess because you have him on your IR. I see what you're saying. Let me take a quick look. I mean, I like having backup quarterbacks.
Me too.
Personally.
And
It's
like
nice.
I mean, I think he's gonna be the long-term backup too, so it's literally just a
Yeah,
handcuff.
especially
But
if he's performed fairly well the first game. If he performs well again against Titans, if he plays, he probably locked that job up in terms of that back. I mean, yeah, I mean, probably stop throwing out your Tyler Johnson for a 27 third trades and just drop Tyler Johnson. That
I
would be
am
what I do.
dropping Tyler Johnson
Yeah,
this week.
that would be. Did you just send that trade out to everyone?
No, like
You
three people.
should.
Like I sent it out to people that. I mean, I'm not just gonna spam everyone. No one else. Like a lot of people have some good wide receiver depth. I was mostly sending it to like you and Riley, who had Cup and Puka,
That's fair.
and then I was sending it out to Ben because he needs wide receiver depth. But here he has Demarcus Robinson. So
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I would just like if you're not already dropping him, I would drop Tyler Johnson and just keep Malik because
it sounds like you
Jordan Love
want
having
Tyler
that back.
Johnson.
No, no, I do not. I do not need him. I don't have a
Who you
roster
want,
spot for
Puka
him.
or you want Tutu?
I don't want any of those guys. I don't care for them. I don't think
You
they're
don't
gonna
want
be good
any
enough.
Rams wide receivers? Yeah, we can
There's
just
no
hop
need.
into
There's
start
no need.
unless you want to touch on the Cowboys. We
Yeah,
can
let me
hop
just quick.
into
I'll quick
injury.
talk about it. There's not a whole lot to talk about here.
All you gotta say is the Saints are the best team in the NFL.
Well, here's what I'll say. You can well, you can't because you don't really know them. But my brothers, I was at my parents' house for my niece's birthday, and I talked to my dad. I talked to my brothers-in-law. I said, "This is a game that the Cowboys lose. People have pretty high expectations, and they're playing against a Shanahan tree coach, offense, whatever you want to call it, and we can't stop that. I.e., the Packers playoff game. Shanahan tree offenses, we don't know how to play against. It's just the facts. And it happened again. So I'm not surprised that we lost. I'm surprised in the fashion that we lost. It was embarrassing, to say the least. At home, first home game of the season, just getting blown out. And I'm also going to say, I think it's basically almost entirely on the defense. The offense played realistically pretty good throughout most of the game.
That CD play was pretty sweet.
It was sick. They played okay. They're having an issue this year, at least, closing out some drives. They've got a lot of field goals going on right now. So that's something that needs to improve. But one of Dak's picks, the receiver fell down like that. In reality, that was the biggest game. The biggest play of the game was they had the ball with 2 minutes left in the second half. They were down 2 scores. He catches that ball. It was like a 35-yard pass. They're basically in Saints territory or at like the middle of the field. They could score a touchdown there, and it's a one-score game. We get the ball. It's a pick, and they score a touchdown, and the game is over, basically. It was just a huge swing, like, turning point. I think if that plays any different or they don't score, right, like, even if we just get a field goal and they don't score there, I think the game is a lot closer. But defense kind of sucked. Cowboys need one more playmaker on offense, I think. And
Almost like a running game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, their running game does things, but you're not scared of it beating you. Like, it does what it needs to do, but it's not going to beat anyone, if that makes sense. So we have CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. Like, no one, they're not scared of Brandon Cooks. He'll get a touchdown here or there, but he's not like a threat. Jake Ferguson's a good safety blanket when he plays. Then we have no wide receiver 3. It's between Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, a bunch of guys who can't do anything that are terrible.
Should trade for Deontay Johnson.
I mean, you know who I'd like to trade for instead of the Eagles? Jahan Dotson would have been a nice wide receiver 3, I think. That would have been fun.
I don't know, man. That guy's not doing shit.
Yeah, but I'd
name.
rather have him than all the other guys.
One thing I thought of when you were talking about that with not being able to compete against teams with the Shanahan tree offenses. So, like, what's your plan in the playoffs? Because either you're probably playing, like, Rams, Packers.
Lose. The plan is lose. It's incredible, actually, how, like, it's so apparent that I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know the logistics behind why the Shanahan tree offense just destroys us. I think it's because we play zone every time against it. You don't know
how to compete.
And we don't know what to
motion.
do about it. We don't know what to do about it. Play action and motion, we are just destroyed.
Do you guys play a lot of man?
We're a better man defense from
maybe
every game I watched. And against the Packers, it was zone. Against Saints, I could tell it was zone. And we just get torched. It's not good. So yeah, losing the playoffs is
that's
or
the
not
plan.
making.
Let's hop into the injuries of the week. There were a shit ton that is going to be shaking up. This is probably going to be one of the crazier waiver wire weeks. I mean, unless these injuries just keep happening. But like, I don't know. I don't remember this many injuries ever in fantasy. Like, the amount of people just going out is insane. We can start with I think. Like, Justin Jefferson, I think he's going to be fine. That didn't look that bad. Rashad White, he got injured, but I think he'll be fine. Joe Mixon, he got injured and came back in, but I'm more worried about him. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be some, maybe like a 2 or 3 week stint where you could stream some Texans running backs, but it's Cam Akers and Dameon Pierce and Dare Ugabawale, where I think I would want Akers the most.
Yeah, Akers looked the best in preseason at least, but
And JK's just proving that you can bounce back from an Achilles injury. So
thank God. I love
like
that. I love to see
I'm
it.
I'm loving that so far, knock on wood. J.K. Dobbins is dodging that injury bullet. I think he just
Hmm.
needed a manager in Dynasty that didn't care about him and doesn't like him
Hey,
to just go off.
I got him in redraft, dude. I care a whole lot about him. Come on now. I got him in 2 leagues. I care so much about
No,
J.K.
no, 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 no.
Dobbins.
You got to say I don't care about
Oh,
you,
I hate
dude,
J.K. Dobbins.
because you had him in redraft the previous year and you were so high and hype
I
on him,
was.
and then week one he goes
Week
out.
one, he was about to score a touchdown. And he just like tears his shit up. Yeah, it was tough.
One of the bigger ones too, Tua with another concussion.
Mm-hmm.
What is your initial reaction? You think he's going to come back,
Well,
retire?
I think he should. Me and like most other people think he probably shouldn't play anymore. But he came out and said that he has no plans of retiring. He did just get placed on the IR today, so he's going to be out for a while, which should be interesting for all of the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle owners, and I think very good for all the Devon Achane owners.
I don't know.
So
I think the whole offense is going to take a hit. I mean, the
yeah,
running backs less, but
you'll at least have some guaranteed volume there. You know what you're going to get. Receivers fully have to rely on Skylar Thompson being a reasonable quarterback, and I think we know that's not the case.
you know who's going to be QB1 that they have to get back? OBJ.
Who?
Dude can sling some
My
balls.
God, can you imagine? That would be crazy. That would be insane.
But so they also picked up Tyler Huntley. I don't know why Sleeper
yeah.
always calls him Snoop too, but to my understanding, it looks like Skylar's going to start this first week, and then they'll transition to Tyler Huntley.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think either are going to be really beneficial for any of the offensive weapons. Like,
No.
I know Huntley is a rushing quarterback, and it was like 3 or 4 years ago that he had like a really good stretch.
Yeah. He was like usable and not complete garbage.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Skyler, he also has some wheels, I think, where he rushes. But I mean, he was feeding HN at the end of the game. Like they pulled both receivers, and then HN was just out there
Just
catching
out
balls
there
left and
crushing.
right.
After being on the injury report and almost not playing, like what? I don't understand
Yeah.
that at all. That was so interesting.
Yeah, and losing someone else to injury, so you're like, yeah, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah, it's crazy play.
The Pacheco injury happened.
Fractured. Is it
S-
a fractured ankle or something like that? What I saw?
Fibula.
Fibula. Okay.
So-
I don't know exactly.
He's 6 to 8 weeks is expected. They just signed Kareem Hunt also. And if I had to pick up any of them off waivers, I would definitely go Kareem Hunt. Then maybe Carson. No, I don't know.
I think it's going to be gross. It's going to be gross. I think none of them are really going to be all that good. Kareem Hunt probably is the guy that you want. I think Samaje Perine over Carson Steele just because Samaje is like known to be that third down guy. But I think it's a horse apiece, honestly. We'll have to wait and see.
It's almost like they should have drafted a running back after
a
finding a
backup.
diamond in the rough in the 7th round.
Yeah.
You can't just bank on one guy, basically. Cooper Kupp is expected to miss an extended period of time. I'm personally just not even going to try and find the value in that receiving room.
No.
Like, Stafford has not been playing that good because the offensive line has been straight garbage. I think this is just going to be a death sentence almost for all Rams players for a while. Like, maybe
Yeah,
they'll turn it around in the second half.
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar. I think Kyron's going to get a lot more work. Will it be like efficient work? Probably not, because teams are going to prepare to just like stop Kyron, but he's going to get the work. I think honestly, if you're tight end needy, this might be a situation where like Colby Parkinson now becomes like an actual target for Matt Stafford. He's kind of been known to like his tight end, so I think
He could
if
be
you
target
are like,
number one.
yeah, like if you're really struggling at tight end, which I think almost everyone is, because tight ends have been the worst I've ever seen. Like even the top end ones, I would say just throw a dart at Colby Parkinson.
I think.
But yeah, have you noticed that though? Like all the top end basically have been pretty bad. Not good for people who drafted them early, that's what I'll say.
Yeah, no. I mean, the tight ends, but especially the quarterbacks. And I'm very happy I went streaming quarterback method this year because the quarterbacks ain't doing shit either. Defense
Yeah.
is playing really well overall
That's
throughout
true.
the league.
Yeah, I heard something. It was like under 200 yards is the average yards per game for quarterbacks right now, which is crazy. So yeah, I think
it might even have to do with like I want to stat on the penalties too, because I feel like
Yeah.
there's been so many illegal formations or just O-line penalties that just kill the play and back them up and then put the offenses in a tough position where maybe is what's playing into it. But I know the league always goes in shifts or swings of it's going to be very offensive heavy and then very defensive heavy.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
you just need the run. Like, you're okay. The running quarterbacks, man. Like, It's really all it is. They just give like they haven't been great, but at least they have the like Lamar was really good week 1, but Lamar was a good week 2, and he's still at 16, which is fine. But like Jared Goff, even though he's not a top like quarterback or everything, he's been so bad. He's at like 8 points his highest week. Like any quarterback that's just standing in the pocket, it has been struggling.
Yeah, you're very thankful that Kirko had a great game last night because otherwise I feel like I would have been in your shoes sweating about my QB2 with Goff playing like booty and Kirk not looking the same since he tore his Achilles. But
yeah, I mean Kirk did look a lot better.
Nice. And with that Mooney stack,
I still think I'm gonna start Goff next week. But
that Mooney stack though,
dude, he got there. I think here's the thing though. What is Ray McLeod getting targeted so much for? It's kind of pissing me off.
Because he's wide receiver 1, and then Mooney's wide receiver 2, and London is wide receiver 3.
Yeah, you're right. I'm happy that Mooney did something. That's all. I thought he was gonna be a lot better. I know it's only week 2. We'll see how it goes next couple weeks. But I thought he was gonna be like a sneaky little play every week. But not quite yet.
Well, yeah, I'm happy I got a second and a third for him.
Honestly, still feel okay about that. Realistically, if we look at it, is it this year's second?
Yeah. So you paid a future second, and last year's third. But like, I feel like you could have gotten a lot of different. Like, I probably would have given you Judy for a second and a third. I could have.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I've been a Mooney guy for a while. I like taking shots on guys I like. I'm not afraid to do that.
I kind of want to talk.
I still think he's got a chance to be good, so I'm not quite sad about that trade yet.
Okay. I kind of want to start talking about my team and my players that I've had because I just started remembering how good of another week I've had. But the last 2 injuries where we had Debo popped up on the injury report, and that was pretty unexpected. He apparently went out at the end of the game. He's going to miss some time, which really sucked because I was loving the Debo pick with the McCaffrey being on IR and everything. Yeah. I mean, but Ayuk's just going to shoot up to the moon. Maybe we're finally going to see some Ricky Pearsall. A.J. Brown came up with a hamstring. That was pretty unfortunate with, at least they did it early before those noon games on Sunday. But yeah, that's going to suck for some managers. And then the last one is Marshawn Lloyd. It's just a small one. He got injured again in that Packers game, which he was looking nice. There were 2 runs that got called back in that game that I was pretty impressed with, but he's going to be 2 hours ago. They're placing him on IR now, which
Jesus,
I'm fine with gaining
a roster spot
in Dynasty. Yeah, I was sweating with this waivers of I'm going to have to be dropping someone soon and did not know who. Because going into this week, I was like, okay, Gibby's going to be a drop. And then dude pops off for 94 yards. So we're like, well, now what do I do with Gibby?
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about dropping him still, but that's just me.
I mean, I am the biggest fanboy of Gibby.
You are.
Ever.
That's very true.
He looked so fast. He looked like a really good change of pace back. And the Pats like a shared backfield and like having a switch hitter. But I had another great week. I think the Vampire League I lost. I don't really care about that, but I won every other league, which was absolute insanity. Scathed by with injuries too. I didn't really have any players hurt minus Debo on my redraft team, but the biggest thing and the thing that made me the happiest was that JSN breakout game. The 16 targets, 12 catches, 117 yards. I was loving that. Finally,
that's crazy.
Offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, is making some changes in targeting JSN in that passing game. And it was against New England, who I feel like they have a pretty solid defense.
It seems like it's pretty good so far. That's a team. First of all, good for JSN. I had no faith in the guy. Maybe it's finally changing for him. I hope it does for his sake. Secondly, Patriots look like unreasonably okay at football, which is kind of fun, honestly. Everyone had them as like worst team by far, and I think they're all right. They're going to give everyone a tough game, I think.
I think so too. I mean, it's like the Packers. They're just a really well-run organization that they're not ever going to put themselves in a bad place.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I'm excited next week to see what that Carolina offense looks like under Andy Dalton, because I got Chubb in some places, Deontay in some places, really hoping that value goes up. And then I'm really surprised by Judy this season too. I'm starting to be like, I don't know, what was that? I was like, maybe I'll have to drop him next season too. And then I was like, after week one, I was like, oh my God, fucking Deshaun Watson is terrible. And now he's looking like him and Elijah Moore are just outplaying Amari Cooper every week.
That's what I was going to say. Amari Cooper has looked pretty as of late. The past 2 games, he just hasn't looked like his old self. He's dropping a lot of balls, like easily catchable balls. Just, I think he's kind of, before the season even seemed like it, he's like done with being there. I don't think he wants to be there and play there.
Didn't you say the Cowboys need a second wide receiver?
I would love it. I would be so down for a reunion. Get Zeke back, get Amari back. Dude, are you kidding me? It would
that
be
would
sick.
be, it would be the band back together.
Get the band back together, dude. It would be awesome.
I don't know,
it won't
Jerry.
happen, but it would be fun.
We got some ideas for you.
We're cooking over here, Jerry.
What about your teams? How'd you do last week?
With how my week started against you, Tyreek 5, Keon Coleman 0, Tyler Bass 6.
Oh yeah, we played against each other.
With how that started, I was like, it's wrapped up, like it's over, I've lost. But then like it was like pretty close all week after that, because like Ramondre obviously has been a beast, J.K. Dobbins was a beast, Devontae had a good game, Zay Flowers, that's my goat, it's a great game. I just couldn't get past those couple duds is all it was. I only lost by 16, which is kind of a lot, honestly, but like if one, I don't know, I got a 1 drop, I got a 0, I got a 1 for my defense, and I got 5 from Tyreek Hill. You're not going to win with numbers like that. So the fact that I could even put up 105, I feel pretty good about. I lost to the median by like 0.8 points or some shit.
Yep.
Or what, I don't know what it was, but it was like 1. So I'm not happy about that. I was pretty confident I was going to beat it, and then all of a sudden I was like, no. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my running backs, man. Like I did the 0 RB strat basically, and Mondre's doing great for me. JK's a beast. I'm very happy with him.
Your boy, you can't even talk about Javonte. 11 for 17, dude.
He's been not good at playing football.
And 8 for 23.
I think his team is fucking trash. So it's like what is he supposed to do? And also the 5 catches for 48 yards is very nice. He's got guaranteed volume. That's what I said about him when we came into it. I said, I don't know that he's really going to be all that good, but he's going to have guaranteed touches, and he's got him. So
if he keeps up this rushing production, the same efficiency, and Estime comes back from IR, are you going to be worried?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. I don't know if any running back is going to put up great numbers on this. In general, yes, I'd be a bit worried because, of course, they're going to try some guy with fresh legs, new blood type deal if nothing's working. He's going to lose touches. But I think they're going to see, oh, this guy's also kind of ass. He gets 11 carries for 20 yards. Maybe there's something wrong with our team in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
It's just going to be tough to see any kind of positivity coming forward in, like, the next 3 years. Like, I feel like he's just going to... His, like, ceiling is almost 12 points, 10 points.
Yeah,
he's not going to be having a 100-yard game with 2 touchdowns ever. Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I agree. And kind of just touching on a couple more of my guys from redraft. Tyreek, I am a bit worried about now, having Skyler or Tyler Huntley. And Travis Kelce through 2 weeks has like 6 points, maybe. So I'm a little bit worried there as well. Because if those 2 guys continue dudding, I can't count on Dobbins and Mondre and all these guys to put up 20 points a week like they have, and it's not going to be sustainable. So I think I could be in some trouble.
Kelsey's really tough because then it's, do I roster 2 tight ends? Waste a roster spot. I mean, you have some droppable players. Like
I've got a lot.
Your boy Javon Baker.
I've held on to him for too long, dude. I can't get rid of him. I can't.
It's not too long. It's been 2 weeks. You can drop him on the 3rd week.
I can't get rid of him.
No one else is gonna pick him up. I guarantee you.
It's just sad, you know. It's just sad. But
you could drop Luke McCaffrey and Javon Baker.
I could drop Javon Baker. I could drop Blake Corum probably. Honestly,
you have all your fab, right? Like you can get them back if they go off 1 week.
And I mean, I think. I don't know. Luke McCaffrey's he's playing 50% of snaps. I don't know. I got a lot of droppable guys. That's the gist. Yes, I do.
I mean, like Terry McLaurin's barely even playable at this point.
Yeah.
You don't need to be holding on to Luke McCaffrey at all.
No, you are right for sure. I should be making moves. I just got a little bit of I got trouble getting rid of him. I had so much faith.
I know. Yeah, it's tough to get over that biasy.
Yeah, and then my dynasty team. Put up last week we were talking, I was like, oh man, I don't know, I got a lot of injuries, I'm worried, and all of a sudden I drop a 160 bomb on Peter's head.
Yeah, where did that come from? You had someone, Kamara.
It came from Alvin Kamara.
Fucking hell.
Is where it came from. So that was a little bit of solace for the Cowboys losing, was that Kamara shot me to a win here. Yeah, CD had a good game. Zay had a good game. Kamara had a good game. Kyler popped off. Pollard has been incredibly stellar these first 2 weeks. Like, he's had, I think, upwards of 12 points each week, which is all I'm asking of him. He's not going to be a guy that needs to pop off. So I think I'm all right in Dynasty, honestly. I think I'll be okay moving forward as long as Javonte or Darnell Mooney or Jacoby Myers can put up a reasonable week in my second flex spot while Puka is coming back. I think I'll be okay. I think I overreacted a little bit after week 1.
I think we'll wrap up this episode, but the last game I wanted to talk about, I mean, we didn't really talk about the Eagles and the Falcons game, which was so unexpected. I did not see that dub coming out of anywhere. Ben had a huge shout out where he was like, when are we going to start calling Garrett Wilson, Olave, and London mid? And I was like, I mean, yeah. When, like, I was thinking about it before you brought it up, how you remember the 2020 class where it was Smith, Waddle, Judy, all of them?
Yeah.
Where it was, and probably a couple other first round wide receivers like that class was loaded. It was like, Judy is, I was like, he's kind of like Chris Olave in my mind right now.
Oh,
he's just like, has that name, that value, and then you're just like,
it's just dipping.
Like, produce a little more. So
yeah, I mean,
they're definitely on the watch for me.
Absolutely. I think they're all really, really tough right now. Like we can't overreact too much these first 2 weeks. Like London's game maybe got saved a little bit by that last touchdown, but he had an okay game. I think we got to see Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers connection a little bit more. The guy I'm the lowest on is Chris Olave by a mile.
Me too.
He's getting outshone by Rashid Shaheed, I think, too heavily.
I like Wilson the most, and then I think I like Chris and then London, just because the Saints offense has been prolific. And if I'm gonna like I want the highest scoring offense, like a player in that kind of system. So
I just think
into
the Falcons' defense or offense is only going to get better, and I think the Saints can only really regress. I don't know. We'll see. I think I just like London better in general. I don't know. They're pretty. It's not like they're far apart. I think London and Olave are in pretty similar situations in terms of like if this year nothing happens, it's over. So
yeah, and I haven't really seen anything from Wilson or Rodgers to be like, yeah, I'm kind of out on them. It's just they haven't really had the connection. Rodgers has been spreading out the ball a lot more than I was expecting. I kind of just picture him to be like that Devontae where you just vacuum 16 targets every single week. But that hasn't been the option. Apparently just the running backs are just wide receiver ones.
Yeah, I guess so, dude.
That Breece Hall catch was insane.
It was nuts.
The end zone. But yeah, the last game that I said I wanted to really quickly touch on was that Washington and Giants game.
Oh my God.
Did you watch that?
Didn't, and thank goodness I didn't, but only field goals is absurd.
That is absurd. I wasn't able to watch the game either because I was at the Green Bay game, but just listening to it on the radio, the radio announcers were really overhyping. It was a long ass drive home, but for like 30 minutes they kept teasing it. They were like, and something terrible happened in the National Football League this year, which could be rule changing, groundbreaking, and loss of jobs and change of organization or something like that. And I was like, what happened?
What's going on?
What did I miss?
Yeah.
And they're like, Dayball didn't sign a second kicker. I'm like, oh, that's it?
Unreal.
Like, and they were like giving him a ton of shit for his presser where he was like, yeah, we thought Gano was going to be good, so we just went with him. And then they were just interrogating him about, like, why didn't you sign another kicker even though he was, like, kind of hobbled? And he's like, because we thought he was good, which is definitely fine. And then he had a new injury in the game. So I totally get that. But, yeah, that was just pretty shocking. And then seeing, I don't know what to believe about Neighbors and Jones, if that was just the Washington
Commanders
defense.
being the Commanders, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, Neighbors is good. I think it's all on Daniel Jones, honestly. It's just a matter of can he get him the ball. But that is where we're going to wrap this episode up. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know.
Smash that like button.
That scared the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. You came out hot there and that scared me. Let us know how you're doing in your fantasy leagues, what games are interesting, and we'll talk to you next time.
And who you get in waiver wires. Really interested about that.
That too. See ya.
See ya.